haven't noticed already, yoga is booming. More people are doing yoga now than at any other time in its history. An estimated 300 million people currently practice yoga, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. Yoga, defined as union, is filling the void in our modern lives by connecting us deeper to ourselves, others, and something greater. Yoga is also having a boom in Africa. The Maasai tribe in Kenya is the first to combine their traditional lifestyle with yoga. Thanks to a nonprofit called the Africa Yoga Project, 70 local yoga teachers have been trained and employed to give up to 300 free classes to 5,000 people a week in orphanages, prisons, and slums. Betty Kalman is an 87-year-old yoga instructor from Australia, a true testament that yoga has no age limit. She began practicing in 1950. She teaches 11 yoga classes a week, more than me, and hasn't been to a doctor in 50 years. Betty says, yoga keeps you young. Never have I gone to a yoga class and wish I was somewhere else. Prisons, looking for a low-cost, low-risk way for inmates to reflect on their crimes, improve their fitness, and cope with stress of overcrowded prison life, are turning to yoga. Yoga and meditation help inmates feel better, make better decisions, and develop the capacity to think before acting. You can do yoga in the middle of the ocean. Stand-up paddleboard yoga combines the sport of stand-up paddleboarding with yoga postures. The first portion of the class is spent warming up on land, then the basics of how to carry the board, place it in the water, and paddle, and turn are reviewed. You can do yoga with your dog. Doga is a partner yoga class that people do with their dogs. Doga combines massage, meditation with gentle stretching for dogs and their human partners. In Doga, the dogs and their humans masters work as one unit. The very first images of yoga were found in the Indus Valley between India and Pakistan, dating back 5,000 years ago. Not this image. While the ancient practice is sometimes hard to recognize, the goal of yoga remains the same: to cultivate a deeper awareness by bringing the attention inside. It is believed that Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction, learned yoga in deep meditation. Shiva is considered the first yoga teacher, and Parvati, his wife, the first yoga student. Shiva transmitted yoga to the Saptarishis, putting different aspects of yoga into each of them. Each Saptarishi represents one of the traditional forms of yoga, which are Raja, Karma, Jhana, Bhakti, Mantra, Tantra, and Hatha. It is said that the Saptarishis were dispersed around the globe. The teachings were then passed down from teacher to student orally for centuries. This is probably why there are so many types of yoga. Maharishi Patanjali was the first to compile the teachings of yoga into a comprehensible system. He wrote 195 sutras, which serve as a framework for integrating yoga into the daily routine and leading an ethical life. The core of Patanjali's teachings lies in the Eightfold path of yoga. The most famous sutra from Patanjali is Yoga Chitta Nirodha. Yoga begins when the fluctuations of the mind are controlled. Patanjali's wisdom is still valid today. The modern man in meditation has a busy mind going through his to-do list while the yogi's mind is blank. This is my teacher, Anna Forrest, where my yoga path starts. She's been practicing and teaching yoga since she was a teenager and is now in her late 50s. She created her own style of yoga, Forest Yoga, that addresses the toll our modern lives have on our bodies, minds, and spirits. I did her teacher training in 2004. After a year of teaching, I did what many yoga teachers do and traveled to the source of yoga, India. I stayed at ashrams all over the country. I exposed myself to the more spiritual aspects of yoga. My year-long trip turned into 18 months. I finally settled into Rishikesh, where I studied Iyengar, visited swamis, and bathed in the Ganga. At the time I was in Rishikesh, Swami Dharmananda gave 8-week-long courses on yoga philosophy at the Yoga Niketan ashram in Rishikesh. He would talk about his lineage, Vedic philosophy, and Hindu mythology. If you were lucky, he would answer your questions at the end. This was Swami Dharmananda's altar. I spent weeks staring at these gurus, gods, saints, and realized beings, hearing stories of their special powers and how they achieved enlightenment. I was and still am fascinated with their stories and tried to continue to learn from them. I also did a 10-day silent retreat, Intro to Buddhism course at the Tushita Meditation Center in Dharamsala, where the Dalai Lama lives. We meditated, learned about Buddhism, did yoga all in a silent atmosphere, and this was my teacher, a very funny Australian nun. This comic shows how much of a challenge it is to integrate the ancient practices of yoga and meditation into our modern lives. Most people need to remove themselves entirely from their environment to make sense of the teachings and or to meditate. The good news is that with practice, dedication, and the right teacher, it is possible. The bad news is that we've been sitting too much at our desks, in our cars, and on our couches. Our backs are hunched, our muscles are tight, and we're not able to sit comfortably in meditation without feeling pain. This is why it's necessary to start with the physical body before we tackle the mind. Hatha yoga refers to a set of physical postures or asanas and sequences of asanas designed to align your muscles and bones. The postures are also designed to open many channels of the body, balance the masculine and feminine, strength and flexibility, effort and strength, and we're also bringing attention to our breath. My name is Carrie Wenzel, and I'm a Hatha yoga teacher. I teach in Erfurt, Gebesee, and Hasleben. My intention as a yoga teacher is to make yoga accessible. My yoga classes are challenging, informative, and fun. Thank you.